Hello, everybody. We are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo. This is my forever co-host Jomar, and we're continuing our Oscar lineup. Last time we did Raging Bull with Robert De Niro. This time we're doing Silver Linings Playbook with Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, and Robert De Niro. Yes,
He's back.
he's back in a completely different role. But yeah, this came out in 2012, and I wonder if we're still in our high school by 2012.
Started.
Okay, so this is one
Yeah.
of the movies where this and the first Hunger Games, they're like, you have to watch this movie. It's amazing. It's everything. And again, I've said this in our Begin Again video. I'm like, I don't want to watch some lovey-dovey movie. And then I was convinced to watch this somehow. And I was like, wow, this is pretty good.
Yeah, I was also convinced to watch this like a few days ago. I don't know why I had a like a list, but yeah, I was convinced to watch this a few days ago for this review,
Yeah.
and I was very shocked.
Yeah.
Because like I would see it in like, HBO and Star movies when those used to exist.
Yeah.
HBO Go does not count, but when it was on cable, I would always come across it, and I would always see him running with his like plastic bag over him. I was like, he's weird. And then like I would see those scenes where they start yelling at each other. I was like, that's too much for me. Alright, I'm changing. I never took time to like watch it completely. I never like sit down and watch Silver Linings Playbook. But I keep hearing from my cinephile friends that one hell of a good movie, and I was okay. My co-host wants me to do this. My friends are telling me, please fucking do it. So I was like, okay, we'll do Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah. Well, getting right into it, we meet Pat, who's played by Bradley Cooper, who's in a mental hospital because he is diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and he is free. The judge allowed him 80 days or like 8 months, and then he's good to go. And he's also friends with, Chris
Tucker.
Yeah, I was like, God
Yeah.
damn.
I was like, hey, you were out too? He's not.
No, he's not. Dan's not out. He lied. They both
Yeah.
lied. There's a continuing theme apparently with Chris Tucker's character.
Yeah, and we're gonna say this right off the bat. We are not like
We don't have the degree to talk about mental illness in depth.
we don't have a degree to talk about this
Yeah.
in depth or relate to it in any way because me and Enzo do not have those.
Yeah.
So if we accidentally say something off or something wrong about it, please let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
We are very accepting of those criticisms or, telling us off when we say something wrong.
Yeah. And you find out that Pat has the same name as Dad, first of all, who's played by Robert De Niro. But Pat was in the hospital because there was an incident with his ex-wife and the history teacher where he finds out his ex-wife was having an affair and he almost beats the man to death. And that's why he was put in the hospital.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
you would cheat with the wife of Bradley Cooper. Even I feel like fighting Bradley Cooper. It's a losing battle.
Yeah.
Matt's huge. Have you seen him in like American Sniper?
Yeah.
My God.
Man has killer looks too. So you're like, why would you ever trade him for the history teacher?
Hey, looks aren't everything.
I
Sometimes
know.
it's the brains. But cheating's wrong.
Yes. But also, so is beating a man half to that. So there's that. There are consequences to everything in this life, unfortunately.
I mean, one side's more understandable than the other.
Yeah, sure.
It's like,
But yeah, like he is obsessed with getting back with Nikki, his ex-wife, even though his parents are like, please don't. You have a restraining order, Pat. Stop it.
yeah, but oh God, no, because he does the things that were like we used to do. Like, if we had a crush in a certain area, you would like try to jog or do something in that general area.
Yeah.
And you'd hover around just to see if you could get like a glimpse of her or get her attention.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is very familiar. But yeah, he goes around, starts meeting up with his old friends.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit, when did you come out? Like, get out of the institute.
Yeah. Also, he's reading Nikki's English recommendation, her syllabus, and like he wakes his parents up at night, and he's like, "Pat, it's 4 a.m. Why are you complaining about Ernest Hemingway, please?"
Or he just has a full-on rant about Ernest Hemingway's book. He's like, "Why would you send me that? Fuck!" I was like, "Okay." For me, that scene was funny, but for sure that was a little too real.
Yeah.
To probably parents or any loved ones who have experienced another loved one who is experiencing bipolar disorder. So, sorry for laughing, but I don't know. If it sounds like something I would do to my parents. I do that to my parents all the time. Like when I do a review on something here, and then they ask me like, "What was it about?" I give them a whole synopsis. So I don't know. And like my thoughts and complaints about it.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit rough to watch because you could tell that being woken up to 4 a.m. in the morning for something unreasonable is kind of,
Yeah.
How would I say?
What I guess it's been happening for a long time because they're not too shocked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're still like in their 60s.
Come on, man.
And he's like, oh, fuck, this thing again. And like, there's an annoying kid asking for like, is this another bipolar attack? He's like, fuck off.
Why was he filming?
I don't know. And then, yeah, he just is obsessed with getting back with Nikki, even though Pat Sr.'s like, can you just spend a day watching football? He's also superstitious. He does these routines, and Pat's like, I don't like your OCD. And he's like, come on, man, it's Sunday football. We watch this every Sunday. I don't know what Americans do on Sunday, so I can't really relate to this.
Neither do I. But we do have basketball, so.
On a Sunday?
I mean, they're like on a certain day. There'll be like basketball day.
Yeah,
and, like,
I get
everybody's
that.
just glued to the TV.
One side of my family is very into like LaSalle versus Ateneo, or LaSalle versus this.
Yeah, when like the colleges have their playoffs.
Yeah.
Sure, but I kind of feel for Pat here, Pat Jr. Because like if you're not really into sports or not really into the sport,
yeah,
and your parents are just like, watch this with us, bond with us. Yes, it's their only way to communicate with you.
Yeah,
and it's very understandable. But at the same time, it does not work.
Yeah, and the other things are like he doesn't take his medication, and he doesn't really listen to his therapist. He is triggered because his therapist office plays the song, his wedding song, and he's like having a meltdown. And after that, he's like, "I'm so sorry," but then starts to continue to rant to his therapist. And the guy's just like, "You just need a system that works. You also need to forget about Nikki. She might not be there the way you think she is." But yeah, as you mentioned, he is invited to his friend's dinner, and like he shows up in a football jersey, and then his friend's like, "That's cool," and his wife is like, "Why are you wearing that?" But this is where we meet Tiffany, and like before they meet, he's like, "Please do not ask how her husband died, because he was a cop." And like after a small talk for a bit, he's like, "Okay, that's cool. How did your husband die?" And like I was like, "Putang ina."
It's so fucking funny. No, because their first interaction is just so deadpan and like it's very like intrusive thoughts are winning.
Yeah.
You know? It's just out the door. How'd your husband die? The guy behind him, I'm like, I get, yes, these are real disorders, but they do it in such a way that it's so funny.
I mean, it makes it relatable. Like they find a way to make it relatable. And like Tiffany and Pat kind of do hit it off at the dinner table. But like Tiffany's also going through her own stuff, including grief, because her husband didn't have the best way of ending. So they're like, oh Jesus.
I got run over.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna. Horrible. But that shit is hella funny, and I love it so much because every time she brings up her dead husband, or her husband, Pat always has to say, "Oh, your dead husband," and she just snaps at one point and is like, "You don't need to keep saying he's dead. I get it." Oh God, I love this movie.
Yeah.
I gotta say that this shit is so funny.
And then when things get too personal for Tiffany, she's like, you know what, I'm done with this dinner. Let's go home. And then they go home, and then they try to hit it off, but Pat's like, no, I can't. Nikki's waiting for me. And then he tries to look for his wedding video. Can't, has a breakdown, and wakes up the entire neighborhood. And the kid, again, is like, is this a bipolar disorder thing? And like, Pat Sr. chases him, and he's like, you know what? If you keep asking that, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna break the camera over your head, and I'm gonna interview you what it's like to have a camera broken over your head. It's like, I hate it.
And he goes to the wall, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then walks back home.
Yeah.
But this scene was a little too good. Like him very much in distress because he can't find the thing that he wants to the thing he wants in the world. As of that moment, he accidentally hits his mom. His dad, of course, instinctively defends his wife.
Yeah.
And starts hitting him, and they both starts beating up each other.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised Pat Sr. Had the upper hand.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's Robert De Niro. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. And after that, Pat Jr. has to take his medications to do what the therapist tells him to do, but he runs into Tiffany again. And then they go on a Halloween date to some diner where he has cereal, and then she has tea, and then she...
Yeah, but like, I get it. They would run into each other a lot.
Yeah.
Like, she would know his route.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. He would like try to run away from her. And I love it that both of them are kind of like, oh, he's way crazier
than I am.
Yeah, they're both in denial of each other. And they're not self-aware. They're like, they both play each other down as if they're the way more crazy one.
Yeah.
In each other's eyes. I was like,
he's like, you're kind of tone deaf, and you're like, she? Oh, fine.
I was like, she's tone deaf.
And Mister, how did your husband die? Like,
how did your husband die? Oh, you mean your dead husband? yeah, but finally, what was the name again?
Tiffany.
Tiffany finally gets him. Well, his therapist gets him to like ask Tiffany out.
Yeah.
Because this might be a way to show Nikki that, hey, you have recovered, that you're helping somebody out, and you've made friends.
Yeah.
You're getting better, and she might go back with you.
Tiffany says, I might be able to give a letter to Nikki. And then he's into it, but I forget what he says that makes her storm off the restaurant. She's like, forget it, this deal's over. He says something tone deaf, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
No, I remember that shit. No, because it was like, no, again, it's the whole, oh, you think I'm more crazier than you. And then he starts talking down to her like, even more. Even though he's asking for her help, he's insulting her the entire time. I was like, hey, yo, this is not how you get a favor from a friend. To a point where they meet outside of they get to like a theater, and she makes a scene just to get him off her.
Yeah.
Where she says, "Oh, you're harassing me," and everybody's like coming in and trying to defend him.
But his song...
And then the song starts playing.
Yeah.
And then she had to comfort him.
Yeah.
Again, a very odd scene.
Yeah.
But it's also very nice.
Yeah, I like how she goes out of her way to help the guys. Like, look, you can't be controlled. You can't be scared of this song all your life. At some point, you can't just snap when it starts playing at a grocery. You have to learn to live with it, which makes sense. And then the next day, she's like, all right, I'll give the letter to Nikki, but I'm tired of doing things for people and then them never giving things back in return. And you're like, that's, that in life, that is relatable. People, you give, you give and you give and you never ask. But you're like, it'd be nice if someone did something for me.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
It really would.
And he's like, all right,
but yeah.
what can I do? Help me with this dance competition. No, come on. If you really want this letter, help me with this dance competition. And you're
Yeah.
like, all right.
It's very unheard of.
Yeah.
Because knowing his character, I was like, I didn't know this movie was going to go this direction.
Yeah.
But it was like, can he dance?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a whole montage of them practicing and like him getting better. So, yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, also, he doesn't seem like the most coordinated, because I'm like, I can relate to not being coordinated. It's fine.
Yes.
But I say
When it
dance.
comes to
You're like, they got the rhythm down, they got everything down, and then Chris Tucker visits again, and then he's showing them, like, no, you do this. And in that moment, you're like, I think Pat Jr. has feeling for Tiffany now.
Yeah, because like he sees her like changing in the background, and he like Chris Tucker starts to spill. Motherfucker, if ever you do this in front of a girl I like, I will rip you apart. Where he's just going like, oh, this is the one you wrote the letter about, like the one you sent me. And I was like, what was in the letter? And I was like, God, I would rip you apart.
And then he starts dancing with Tiffany, and then Pat Jr. is like, wait, let me try it now. And you're like,
yeah, because he's getting a little handsy.
Yeah.
He's like, well. Yeah.
At one point, he's improving, and his dad tells him, like, I'm putting everything on this game. I'm betting everything, and I'm relying on you for good. What was it? Mojo?
Yeah.
Mojo
Like,
Dojo?
yeah. It's just like, hey, you're a lucky charm. Be at the game.
Yeah.
And he finally goes. I would say he was fine. He was having fun.
Yeah.
He met up with his therapist.
Also, his brother, you're kind of like, you are a douchebag for being like, your company, your job failed. I have a better job. I have a wife. You don't. You're like, shut up.
I don't know why they made up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like a thing where they're brothers, so they're trying to shit on each other.
Yeah. But
Or
Pat wasn't taking that role, so we're like, can you just shut up, sir?
yeah. So I was like, and then he just hugs him.
Yeah.
So
Before the big game, Pat Jr. does promise Tiffany, like, oh, I have to go, but I will split the day where half of it will be in the game, half of it will be with you. By that, just needs me to bond with him, but Dad can go to the game himself because he's banned. Yeah, for beating the shit out of a lot of people. You're like, it being Robert De Niro, you're like, you know what? It fits his character. I can picture.
Yeah, raging bull.
Yeah,
in just a stadium. I'm like, all right, makes sense. But yeah, they get to the game. They're starting to drink. They're having fun.
Yeah.
He meets up with his therapist, who is Indian.
Yeah.
And there's a bus filled with those Indian fans for this team.
Yeah.
And there were some racist people.
Yeah.
Pretty much say, oh, why the fuck are you here? Oh, you're betraying us because you're standing up for the Indians. I'm like typical racists.
You're like, man, there are different cultures with different smelling food. Just get used to it.
Exactly. And I was like, and you're both rooting for the same team. God damn, chill.
And then Pat starts to beat people up because he's trying to save his brother. And then we cut back to Tiffany because he isn't there. He didn't keep up his end, but not really his fault because he didn't know he'd be in a brawl.
Yeah. But yeah, so...
But yeah, I love how even if it's like not a mobster movie or like a neat crime movie, Robert De Niro has the most curse-filled rant you can think of. Like, you fucking ruined it! It's all ruined! You loser! And you're like, come on,
That shit was
just take it easy on Pat Jr. He's defending his brother. Just come on, man. You know how he is.
Yeah. Also, I was wondering, does Robert De Niro's character also have a bit of a mental illness?
I think he's just OCD and just superstitious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, Tiffany shows up and he's like, oh, you're the reason we keep losing. She's like, excuse me. Every day your team has been winning. Every day. One pass with me. And he's like, you know what? It checks out.
Yeah, she pretty much puts down like every day when they would win, and it was like, no, your lucky charm is when Pat is not there.
Yeah.
Kind of harsh, but yeah.
Pat Sr. also doubles down, making the bet bigger. He's like, alright, if you want to play this way, Randy, I'll bet everything on this game and their dance competition. And Pat Jr. is like, no, we can't do that. He's like, come on, you're my lucky charm. We're like, I don't think he's anyone's lucky charm. He's just being Pat. You're just using him. Stop it.
And it kind of sucks because he's being tossed around because he has to go to this dance competition, and now it's kind of on the line.
Yeah.
Because it's a shit ton of money.
And the guy's like, alright, I'll be fair. If you get a score of 5, you win this half. Because the bet is like split. Like if the team wins and if you win the dance. And you're like,
Yeah, the parlay.
Yeah. And then Pat Jr. storms off and then he reads the letter from Nikki, but Tiffany had said something earlier and he reads the note again. He's like, son of a bitch. She wrote this letter.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that at first. I really had to, like, rewind that scene.
Yeah.
I was like, how did he figure it out? Or, like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But he does, like, put away the letter, and he's just like... I don't know why that was a realization. We'll get to that scene when we get to it, but I don't know why that's the realization. Hopefully you can explain it to me, but if you can't, hopefully the comments can.
Yeah, I really can't explain that too when he realizes, like, oh, she wrote the letter. I will do something about this.
Yeah.
I just cuts to the Christmas.
No, but the Tiffany and Robert De Niro's character, Pat Sr., kind of had to formulate a plan of, like, how do we get him to go? Because he is the lucky charm, and he is also her dance partner. Just say that Nikki's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Which kind of sucks.
Nikki does actually go. Which Tiffany wasn't counting on. She's like, shit. I have feelings for him. But she's actually here, and he's going to be distracted. He's going to run after her after this competition.
I love her reaction to her sister. You're killing me! I was like, yeah, you bitch. They would have been going so smoothly.
And then she starts drinking, and you're like, I really hope that they win somehow.
Yeah, but you see Pat Jr.'s kind of more optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like more optimistic than usual. Well, I mean, that's a whole Silver Linings Playbook, is that being optimistic even when
motto.
Yeah, shit hits the fan. Excelsior.
Yeah. And then they start dancing, and you're like, I really hope Tiffany doesn't fall or trip, because she has like a shit ton of vodka in her.
Yeah. No, but they start. It starts out great, and then I would say a little. It's questionable.
Yeah.
You know their performance, but I was like, well, as long as they're having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this whole the big move. I think this is what they called it.
Yeah.
Where she climbs up on him. I couldn't watch this with a straight face. But she was like having a hard time. You could see her like.
Yeah.
But at least the dismount was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Those done properly.
And then they end the dance, and the team already won, but they're just waiting for the judges to reveal their scorecards, and then they start giving like 4 point something, and the other dancers like, I'm really sorry, guys. I thought you were pretty good. And then they're like, all right. They combine scores of 5, and Tiffany and Pat just celebrate, and the other dancers are like, the fuck?
Why are they so happy about a 5? I was like, you don't get it. But anyway, but Tiffany is there in the crowd.
You mean Nikki?
Sorry, Nikki.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Nikki is there in the crowd, and Tiffany sees Pat going to her, and I'm like, oh shit, it's the moment where Pat tries to get Nikki back, right? And poor Tiffany storms off, and Pat Senior's like, oh no, he's gonna fuck this up. I, I kind of like Tiffany more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she won him like a shit ton of money, so I get it. But yeah, like he kind of sits him down, like tells you about like faith, and once they reach out to you, you really have to reach out back.
Do not reach back. Don't fuck this up. He basically gives the Mulan speech that the Emperor gives to Shang.
A woman like that won't come in any dynasty.
And then he chases her, and then he gives the note he made for Tiffany, and it's like, I knew you wrote the letter. Sorry it took me this long to catch up. And I love you. And you're like, oh. You know what?
The letter was a bit more profound than that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. And the setup was nice too. It's like, he chases her down, he's like, leave me alone. And he's like, read this one last letter. And she thought that it's one last letter to Nikki.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is so fucked up that you're making me read this. Because, yeah, she's kind of showing that, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
What she does is, like, it's actually to her. And, that shit was just nice. I don't know, like, her reading out the letter was just so fucking... We won't say it.
Yeah.
Just experience the movie for yourself. So,
yeah, it's a good ending.
It's pretty good.
It ties the movie up in a nice bow, and it's a happy ending for both Tiffany and Pat Jr. Like, oh. And, like, if you're wondering, like, what does this have to do with the Oscars? It's because Jennifer Lawrence won for Best Actress.
Yeah, not for Katniss, but for her.
Yes.
Tiffany. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, he doesn't go back to Nikki. Like, he finally moved on and everything. I don't know what he whispered to her.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything like bad or sad, because she's just like.
Yeah, but you could tell in their faces if she was like accepting, like.
Yeah.
You moved on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Go get him.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, again, that wraps the movie up in a very nice bow. You're like, you know what? See, not every Oscar movie has to be super depressed or like, just, oh my god, this is so boring.
Yeah, exactly. Martin.
Or anyone else.
Yeah. Okay, I will say though, Martin Scorsese movies aren't that boring. Sometimes. But come on, you don't have to end on such a depressing note all the time.
That's true. What would you rate Silver Linings Playbook?
I enjoyed this movie way too fucking much. And I am ashamed that this is my first time watching it. I wish I watched it 10 years ago when it first came out. But this movie is... I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. Like, it is not meant... It's not for everybody. Like, I tried watching this with my parents and they wanted me to change it. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it on my phone, on my... Bye. You could tell that... To just a casual moviegoer, this might not be their cup of tea. But if you're willing to sit down, watch why this is so good, you will get it. And you will enjoy every step of the way of this guy trying to begin again. Sorry. To start again.
I wish... Wrong movie, but sure.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just a nice journey, especially when he is the underdog.
Yeah.
And for sure, a lot of people with mental illnesses can relate to him so much.
Yeah.
And he finally starts to piece it together, trying to fight the things that probably a lot of people have to fight to as well, and knowing the fact that there is hope for them as well, you know? So I'm very happy with that. It's a 9.5 out of 10. I am deducting a little bit of a point because it is not meant for everybody.
Okay.
But if everybody wants to give it a watch, it is really fun.
Yeah, I'll also give this a 9 out of 10. The characters and the actors who play them are really good. And the story is very touching at times as well. And with the subject matter at hand, I feel like when they interject comedy, I feel like it's just to be relatable and not, to the detriment of people going through the same mental illness. It just makes it more relatable for everybody to watch this movie. And again, I like it when movies tie themselves in a nice bow. By the end, you're like, oh, that's a pretty good, solid movie. So that's why it's a 9 out of 10. And we have one more Oscar movie to do, which is again pretty lighthearted if you're considering the other Oscar movies, but that should be one interesting time. If you want to see us on YouTube more often, please like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. Spotify to hear us on the go, TikTok to see our best and funniest moments, and individually you can find me Gandalfus1995 on Twitter. How about you?
Oh, you can find me at JomGOM_ on Instagram. This is my account.
All right, and until the next one, we'll see you. Till then, bye.
Ciao.